In this video, we're going to continue to look at some of the things that you can do with dialog scripting. In the previous video, we saw how we could implement scripting within the marriage information dialog. In fact, I'm going to go back into that dialog here from the test assembly by right-clicking and selecting Edit Component. And in the Script tab, we implemented a very simple gray and ungray scheme to first gray out this separation date question, and then tell HotDocs the condition under which we wanted it to be ungrayed or made available. And that simply would be a matter of clicking on the yes button here in the previous question. That makes that answer field available. Now, the user, even though this is available, and for that matter all these other fields are available, could theoretically at this point move on with the rest of the interview, and for that matter go through the process of actually sending the document to Word, either by clicking on the Finish button, sending the document to the word processor by way of this button up here on the button bar. And you can see in the end of interview dialog, there is an indication from HotDocs that we currently have several unanswered questions, one of which, of course, is that separation date variable. Now, this is what we commonly call a soft warning from HotDocs. It's telling us that we clearly have some questions that we have yet to answer, but we could still proceed with the actual production of a document, again, by clicking on the Finish button, or saving the document as a PDF, or clicking on the Send the Assembled Document to Microsoft Word button here or here. If we wanted to force a user to answer a certain question, or perhaps a series of questions, we can do that within dialog scripting using what we call a require instruction. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make some room within this if logic here. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and create a blank line right underneath this ungray line. And I'm going to go into the instruction models box, and I'm going to scroll down to this require instruction to require an individual variable. I'm going to go ahead and drag that up, drop it here. And then I'm going to drag up the separation date variable and replace that variable placeholder. So not only are we going to ungray the separation date in the event the separation true-false question is answered yes, but we're also going to require that a user provide an answer. Now, the effect in the interview, if I click on the update button, if I go back to the marriage information dialog, is now with the separation date answer field available to me. First of all, the prompt is color-coded in red, and there is also a red asterisk in the icon next to the marriage information dialog. Now, the effect in the interview here is that if I try to move to the next item in the interview outline, so if I try to click on child information here, HotDocs is immediately moving me back up into this marriage information dialog because it contains a required question. Now, if I try to avoid answering this question here by, say, clicking on next over here in the dialog view, HotDocs is going to give me a message saying that I have at least one question within this dialog that needs to be answered before I can move on. So the effect in the interview of a require instruction in a dialog script is to put a hard stop in place. The user has to answer this question. Now, as an alternative to using a require instruction on an individual variable, you could use a require all instruction. And maybe what we could do there in this situation is go ahead and put that at the very top of our script. We don't need this individual require instruction anymore. So if we wanted to require everything within a dialog, every available question, every relevant question, we could do that using a require all, and the effect in the interview would be to color code all of the prompts for variables that are yet to be answered. So we could go through and answer all of these questions, and we would have to answer all of these available questions before we're allowed to proceed, either by clicking on the next button or clicking on the next dialog in the interview outline. So you can use require instructions, again, at an individual variable level or at the dialog level to force users to answer a question or a series of questions and ensure that you get those answers before the user can proceed with the rest of the interview or actually produce a document of some sort.